Hello, album enjoyers. Both Christopher and I are still recovering from the Edinburgh Festival, in which we both did about 1 million shows each, and the grind never stops. We're back on the road. Chris is back opening for Frankie Corcosa, and I'm down in the content mines digging away. It does mean we are just a little bit behind on the pod still. It's so difficult to record during the festival. So what we've done is we are releasing a Patreon episode for the general public. It is our deep dive on Hamilton, an American musical by Mr. Lin Manuel-Miranda. This is one of my favourite episodes that we've ever done. So really happy to put it out in public for you all. We've got time booked in the studio this week, so we should be back on track from next week with new episodes coming out. Shout out to the ultras. Your extra bonus episodes that you've paid for are unaffected. You'll still be getting your two bonus ones a month no matter what. This is a really fun episode. We hope you enjoy it, and we will see you soon. Peace and love in the new millennium. Hello, album enjoyers. Quick note to remind you of the Enjoy an Album Patreon page. For £5 a month, you get 2 extra episodes a week. They are ad-free. They are your fun, regular, normal episodes. Just me and Chris just fucking chatting and scatting about some of the best and worst albums of all time. Or you also get the access to the back catalogue of Patreon posts we've already done. Robbie Williams.
Iron Maiden.
Lin
Manuel-Miranda's Hamilton.
That was a good one. We've recently done Janelle Monáe.
Janelle Monáe.
Oh, the Raytons. Yes, there's been some really good episodes on there, so worth it. If you've run out of pods,
it's not like extra stuff. It's not like some podcasts are like, oh hey, we recorded a wee bit extra. This isn't like the fucking trimmings, man.
No, this is your gourmet album enjoyer experience.
This is an extra meal.
Absolutely. And you might be like, I don't want an extra meal. I'm full. Well, this is a better one that you won't be more full of. So how about that?
That is what we offer.
You also get early access to live shows, which is probably one of the biggest sells. So sign up to Patreon now at patreon.com/enjoy an album. Hello, patrons. Thank you for your patronage. And as your reward suggests, this is your third, I think, Patreon episode exclusive.
We had Robbie Williams. We had Iron Maiden. Now, the natural next step, Hamilton.
Yes.
Hamilton, the American musical.
Not the place, as we discussed in the beginning of the episode. It's I've really enjoyed this episode. We're going to branch out more. I mean, we've got off Patreon.
To quote your show, branching out, we're going to branch out.
I don't think I said that in my show, branching out. I don't think I
should Google Liam's poster for his show, Branch Out.
I wonder if it is online. It's a fucking great poster. Me dressed as a tree. You don't think it's good?
It's a good poster for maybe a child's play about trees. But for a stand-up hour, I don't know.
It worked. People came.
No, people came, I'm sure, but not something I would do.
Well, that's fine. You didn't do it. I did. Basically, I was a huge
alcoholic
tree costume. Oh. I had just given up drinking. A huge tree costume that my friend was trying to throw out at a theatre company that he worked at, and I said, I'll have that tree. And then got a picture done it, and it's a picture of me as a tree, but it's so much better than you think it is. What are you describing? If you were to look at it, you go, holy fuck, that's a cool costume. And everybody who came to my show was like, are you doing it dressed as a tree?
You should have.
I did say I was going to.
Wasn't it?
It was very hot, and you couldn't move. And that show that year involved me taking off my shirt at one point. I was wearing a shirt under it. I'm not that confident.
Why were you taking your shirt
off? Because, okay, I'll just tell you the punchline without any context. Mm-hmm. I had the words Wondercock written on my shirt and a picture of a giant cock.
Right. So it was a great show. It was a really good show. I used to, when I was a younger man, I mean, we're all younger.
If I was a young man.
I used to unbutton my shirt, and my girlfriend saw me do that bit. 6 years later, the shirt unbuttoning worked. Wow. You forget that people could find you attractive. You know?
Well, it's confidence of being on stage, isn't it? It's like a...
So you think my body's beautiful?
Aphrodisiac.
No, I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
No. I see it as a sign of rot within.
Well, yeah, but that's because you understand what it really is. But if you don't know that, if you see someone on stage, you think, wow, they're confident.
I just see an arboretum full of trees that require surgery.
Arboretum.
Yeah.
What a beautiful word.
Thank you very much.
Listen.
My hangover's reached that point where I'm speaking very poetically about decay.
It's a great episode about a subpar musical. There's some spicy takes coming. I think some of the spicier ones of recent times. Hey, do you like Hamilton? Why not let us know in the comments on the Patreon page.
What other musicals should we do? Let us know.
Yeah. If you have any other suggestions, please pop them below. Enjoy the ep, and we're catching the flip dip. But
this week we are sponsored by Manscaped.
They are the long-term Enjoy an Album sponsor. They provide the best pubic hair trimming services.
Surely that
services.
Isn't what you usually say. The best below the belt maintenance.
They actually avoid the word pubic, I think, because it's a bit gross. Whereas I'm wanting to bring it back and say, hey, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Look, you need to shave your pubes.
Let's bring pubes back.
Yeah.
But in reverse.
Yeah, let's bring the word pubes back, but let's shave pubes away using Manscaped product like the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Lawnmower 2.0, I believe we're on now. It's got a little light. It's chargeable with a USB-C, same as your phone. It works in the shower. It's very quick to have a whip around downstairs to make you look nice and good.
Your genitals are going to go from a 6.5. They're going to go from
inches. We can't say the Manscaped will give you a bigger dick, but we are inferring
it looks like it.
Yeah, it does look like it. That's the whole point.
It's crazy.
It's wild, actually. You have a shave, you look up, you're like...
trees don't look bigger in winter than in autumn. But...
the earth looks bigger, I think. I don't know if that's how it works. So we are sponsored by Manscaped. We have a code. If you follow the link and type in album20, you'll get 20% off, okay? So do that. Get your balls looking good for whoever wants to look at them, including yourselves.
Balls, cock, arsehole, nose, ear, cock. Check it out. Trim it hard.
Enjoy the episode. You're listening to Enjoy an Album, the podcast where two comedians listen to some of the greatest albums of all time. Lin Manuel-Miranda's smash Broadway show celebrating the life of founding father and American icon Alexander Hamilton winds its tale ingeniously around a series of sinuous hip-hop and R&B grooves. The twists and turns of Hamilton's complex story mirror the deft, sometimes tongue-twisting turns the performers take in their delivery. It's not all hip-hop. The 60s influence pop of You'll Be Back and the classic influence of Take a Break underline Miranda's range, and it all adds up to a visionary redefinition of musical theatre.
Oh my God. We are Hamiltoning it up, and we're not talking about the town in Scotland. We're talking about... I think he's named after the town of Scotland, though.
I did a gig in Hamilton once, and I remember I was going there. It was a gig in a place called Hamilton Palace.
Yeah, Hamilton Ice Palace.
That sounds fancy. Yeah. It is a nod. It was rough as a dog's arse.
One of my first ever gigs. I think maybe the second time I met Stephen Buchanan, maybe.
Stephen Buchanan?
Steamy Boo-Poo. We were gigging. What?
Steamy Boo-Poo.
Stupid Boo-Poo himself, Stephen Buchanan, and we were doing a charity gig to raise money for a local football team in Hamilton.
You care a lot about Hamilton football teams.
I just want the boys to get a good pair of balls.
Just want to see the boys play.
I just want a couple of flyaway footballs.
Not in a weird way.
No, good boys. And everybody, and I hadn't really found my voice yet. And I went up and people were talking, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to scream shut the fuck up at them and see what happens.
That's cool. Audiences love that.
I went up and I was like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, so I love my mum and dad. So yeah, that was Hamilton, man.
Are you...
There used to be a comedy festival in Hamilton. Did you ever do that?
Ha Ha Hamilton. I sure did. I did. I've spoken about before on the pod. Me and Gus Lindburn hosted a comedy karaoke night, and I ended up accidentally singing a sectarian song. Not for the first time in my life.
Not for the first time in your life.
And not the last.
No. Colour bomb tokens are available.
Ha Ha Hamilton, R.I.P.
Pour one out for a bad one. Are you a fan of? So we've not done any musical theatre on the pod previously.
We've glanced across it. I think the playlist may contain Little Shop of Horrors song.
Yeah, but we haven't covered an album as such.
We haven't covered an album.
This is we're a little bit stepping outside of our comfort zone here.
Just for the Patreon.
Just for the Patreon special. So. You were in Little Shop of Horrors.
Just for the ultras.
Are you a fan?
Not my only musical appearance. I'd like to say that.
Okay, please do.
I always find that the villains in something require an actor with charisma, as they say.
Yes.
So I not only played the evil dentist Oren Scrivello DDS in Little Shop of Horrors. When I was 11, I played the star and villain role in a primary school musical, Hoodwinked. I played the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Right.
In a Robin Hood musical.
Okay.
And I had a little white cowboy hat and a Motorhead belt with a Motorhead logo, snaggletooth. My dad got it from Next. And I wore that with cowboy boots, well, more like biker boots, and a white cowboy hat. And I remember coming out on stage wearing the white cowboy hat and everybody laughing. And I was like, it's not funny. Obviously, it was supposed to be funny.
It's actually very serious. The Sheriff of Nottingham cowboy hat?
Well, because it's a joke. So he's a sheriff. So he's a cowboy. You get it?
Wrong kind of sheriff. This doesn't work.
I believe that is where the humour came from.
I don't understand. I don't find anything funny about historical inaccuracy. And we'll get into that when we speak about Hamilton.
You want to hear my song as the sheriff?
What, more than anything?
Solo. I'll always have a solo song at the musical.
He goes like this. With two guys reviewing Robin Hood.
Yeah, lock him up. Robin Loxley.
You're a crook, Robin Hood. No,
so this
Captain
was
Hook. That's the wrong thing.
This was my solo song. So I'll just sing it for you. It's called "I'll Make Them Pay," and I would come out and I'll go, I'll make them pay, I'll make them pay, I'll line my pockets and I'll make them pay, I'll make them pay, I'll make them pay, I'll line my pockets and I'll make them pay, because I'm the meanest sheriff ever to live. I like to take from the poor in order to give more to the rich, the grand, the mighty. And who are the rich? Why me? Why me? Day after day I'll make them pay.
Well done. Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
One question. Do you think the Sheriff of Nottingham thought himself mean?
He was the mean, not in the terms of like mean as in
nasty.
Average or nasty, but simply mean as in tight with money.
But do you think he thought himself, like, because that still is like a negative connotation. He would say he's careful, isn't he?
Well, that's one of the criticisms of musical theatre, isn't it? You kind of have to paint in quite broad strokes for the cheap seats to understand what you're talking about. So
I've been playing to the gallery.
Yeah. You need to play the gallery a wee bit. So maybe it would have been more accurate to his mindset if it was like, I am actually the fairest sheriff ever to live, but people misunderstand me.
Yeah, because then people in the audience
fiscal responsibility is important.
Oh, he's fair, right? This is a good guy.
Government.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, he wasn't really a libertarian, was he? Because he did want high taxes. He was more of a kind of your old-fashioned Tory, your kind of David Cameron, as opposed to your Liz Truss and your Kwasi Kwarteng. But he was quite Tory-ish. Take from the poor in order to give to the mighty, man. He was
wow.
So I'm not really a musical person. I never went to drama school, unlike some people.
Who?
You
didn't go to drama school.
Where did you go?
I studied drama at university.
So that's drama
different
school.
Different thing.
Is it?
Yeah, there's like an official accreditation to be called a drama school, and it's a lot more expensive.
Queen Margaret couldn't get the accreditation.
Well, it was just a different course.
Yeah.
It's
not that they couldn't get it, so they didn't get it because it's different.
Yeah.
But are you like a musical theatre person?
I had a brief period in my teens where I think I quite liked musicals for a bit. But I think meeting musical theatre people...
That will drive you away.
They're like...
Scum.
Like young adult novel Twitter, right?
Do you?
Post Tumblr.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
John Green of Faulkner Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just a very certain type of musical theatre person, fan, who I despise.
I would say they're some of the worst people in the world.
Yeah.
And I include fascists.
Yes.
And
in a way, they're very similar to fascists.
yes.
You know, they rule with an iron fist.
Yeah.
And any criticism towards musicals they like, musicals in general, met with big, crazy attacks.
This is why we've put this episode behind the paywall. Because we don't want...
We are scared.
We don't want the Miranda heads, people who love the sitcom Miranda, to come after us.
Wrath. So, yeah, I hate a lot of musicals. There's some I like.
You can't let an audience, if you
No, but there's a lot of musicals, like the genre I have trouble with anyway. But like anything, you know, I think it'd be silly to write off an entire genre.
Every genre has its moments. Every
Absolutely.
genre. New metal, country, rap metal, which is new metal.
Yep.
Saying it twice.
Yep. Sure.
That's it.
So there's stuff I don't like about musicals that I think, like something you already touched on. There's a real lack of nuance in a lot of it. You know what I mean? There is an incredible skill sometimes to like good lyrics, and that is something we always talk about here on Enjoy an Album. And there is particularly a skill, we'll get to this later when we talk about Hamilton, in telling a story efficiently with lyrics.
His name is Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
That's how they start it.
Yeah, it's a great, smart way of introducing someone's name and character.
1979, America. The Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, but a lot of musical, I struggle. There's so much bad musicals.
What's your least favourite?
We Will Rock You.
That, I mean, come on. Good music. You like Queen? You're not a big Queen head? You don't like Queen?
No.
You don't like Queen?
No, I don't. No.
Should do Queen at some point.
We should do We Will Rock You.
No. That's unfair.
I hated We Will Rock You. I hated...
That's a jukebox musical.
Oh, yeah.
Even
yeah.
most musical people don't like jukebox musicals.
I don't know, man. Like people, like musical people find it hard, like to criticize any big musical. Do you know what I mean? Anything that's like on the West End and the stage. There's something really, I get the ick watching musicals. I can imagine the cast rehearsing it. And there's something that I just find really foul about the whole thing.
Do you get that with stand-up? Like when you watch people, you go, are you work in progress?
There are sometimes when I watch stand-up, it gives me the ick when I imagine someone writing it. Like if it's going badly, and I imagine them sitting and writing it and going...
And then I'll say this. Yeah. And the crowd will probably react like this, so I'll go, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, particularly when you see someone doing stand-up reference an audience reaction that they were expecting but hasn't got. So, you know, they'll say, oh, so, you know, I'm here in Glasgow, and I can see you're probably thinking, what are you doing here in Glasgow? So no one's thinking that. No one's said anything.
We thought that, you know, we've had a bit of... It's an entertainment town, so people come here. You know, nobody's like, what are you doing here?
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? So, the musicals I like, West Side Story.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, did you see the Spielberg?
I haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it either. I just saw Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans.
Listen, I'm a big fan of the Berg.
I've never really dug his stuff before. And I say that as somebody who's seen Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Indiana Jones.
He knows what he looks. The movies are back.
Schindler's List.
I'm a filmo, so I've seen a couple of Steven Spielberg movies.
The first episode of Columbo was directed by Steven Spielberg.
Was it really?
Yes.
And another thing they directed.
Yes. And it's a stunner film.
So there are some that I watched. There's like a specific part of the remake of West Side Story that was doing the rounds on Filmo Twitter.
Oh, the one where they're jumping about the attic.
It's a long shot,
yeah,
a long take with like 1,000 people. Incredible filmmaking. I like West Side Story. There's a couple songs from musicals that I like. There's a song called "Bye Bye Birdie" from the musical "Bye Bye Birdie," which I've never seen, But it's a song.
How's it go?
It's a bye bye birdie, I never loved you so. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a minute and a half, and the girl's got such a cool voice.
Yeah.
And
What's that about? Saying goodbye?
Saying goodbye to someone called Birdie.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know who the hell Birdie is. Don't know why she's saying goodbye. But let me tell you, she's sad about it.
You ever played as the character Birdie from Street Fighter Alpha, the prequel to Street Fighter?
No.
Might be about that.
No, I haven't. I was in a Peter Pan musical when I was 17 years old.
Who were you?
Slightly, one of the Lost Boys.
You were slightly one of the Lost Boys?
I see what you've done there. You've tried to embarrass me.
No,
the name of the character was Slightly.
Right.
Thank you.
Bit of a slight role. But there are no slight roles, they're just small actors. Slight actors.
Thank you very much. It was a very important, integral role.
I don't even remember Slightly. Who was that?
One of the Lost Boys.
What were they up to?
So,
Like Rufio?
No. Oh my God. You were really telling on yourself here, Chris.
J.M. Barrie was a paedophile, so I don't care. I don't know his shit.
Have you read the book Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie?
I don't read pedo shit.
Well,
Except
I do.
Woody Allen and Judy Salinger.
Anyway, I
don't like any paedophiles except for my 10 favourite paedophiles, alright? David Boy.
But since then, I have gone off the ball. You know what really annoyed me? When La La Land came out and everyone's like, it's not a musical. You should watch it.
It's not a musical?
It's not a musical, La La Land. Within the first 5 minutes, they're all fucking jumping and dancing on their cars.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this if not a musical?
Did you think this wasn't a musical?
You fucking idiots.
Do you like Disney musicals? Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast,
Yes.
Lion King?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Leon the
Okay.
Professional King.
The Lion King live. It's great. Really wonderful show. Okay. Got time for the Disney musicals. All right. Despite Disney being a mad racist.
Anti-Semite.
But, you know, they don't sing about it anymore.
No. They just shut down Splash Mountain.
Really?
Yeah, the racist mountain. The racist roller coaster. They've shut it down now.
So when we discussed the idea of doing Hamilton, I thought,
And let's, you don't want to peel back the curtain too much, but literally we recorded an episode last week about Insane Clown Posse. And then afterwards we were like, we're going to do it next week, man. And we were like, what about Hamilton? And we went, And then I got on a train and then we did it.
so here's the thing. What did you know about Hamilton? Had you seen it previous to this week?
I'd heard about it, obviously. It was huge. Biggest Broadway musical of the last 20 years, probably.
It is one of those zeitgeist breaking things, you know,
Yeah.
whereby even people who, people who do not go to see shows at the West End.
It was a kind of like a status symbol for a while. So I got Hamilton tickets, and people were like, "What? Huh?"
My brother
Yeah.
and my mother, not to rap because we've been watching Hamilton, went to see Hamilton the other day. And my mum, she likes going to the West End. I've been with her a few times to see stuff. The National Theatre's £10 season. Thank you. Okay. But
Where'd you see that?
what did I see there? I saw a few things back when I was younger. Have you been to the National Theatre?
Every point in your life, you were younger than now.
That's true. But when I lived in Dagenham,
Okay.
when
As
I
a
was
teen.
As a teen, yes. Saw a great show called Market Boy. One of my favourite ones. That boy who worked on Romford Market. Found some...
Romford Shopping Centre.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway.
Look at that goth with the big boobies.
My-
My mum said.
Yes. Anyway, my brother, my older brother, maths teacher,
Yes.
I can't recall him ever going to the
Big
theatre.
fan of your big brother.
I don't think you've met him.
I have. Fringe 4 years ago.
Are you sure it wasn't my younger brother?
No, I've met him as well. He's cool as well.
Okay, my older brother
Yeah.
went with my mother to see Hamilton.
Really? Really?
And my older brother, I can't recall if he's not a West End guy.
No, he's not.
It's not his type of vibe.
Serious guy.
He's a cool guy,
Yeah.
right? But, you know, I was like, oh, he's going to see him. So that sort of illustrates the sort of general
No offense to your wee
crossover.
brother.
Yeah.
I'd assume you've seen it already.
Yeah.
I thought your big brother would never go.
My younger brother works in theatre, right?
Yeah,
So that
that's
makes
what I thought,
sense,
yeah.
right? Older brother's a GCSE maths teacher.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But he's a centrist, right? My older brother. So that's the vibe. You know what I mean? This is heavy centrist porn.
Think so?
This is the American equivalent of the 2012 Olympic opening ceremony.
I do think that's why it's so popular in America, is that it goes, this country's class.
Yeah. Hey, I know we've done a few bad things, but we've done some good things as well. So why don't we focus on that for a while?
A young, scrappy country.
A young, scrappy country.
Not built on genocide that never gets mentioned.
Yes. Right. Lin Manuel-Miranda.
Have I ever seen it before? Yes, during lockdown.
Okay.
Me and my girlfriend were trying to build some kind of... We had Friday night takeaway. Had a lot of takeaways, but Friday night was special takeaway night. Mm-hmm. And what we would do, she would finish her work, working from home. Mm-hmm. I was jobless at the time. And then we would fire up the National Theatre, done something lovely, where they would stream a different National Theatre play every Friday. Mm-hmm. So me and Sam would sit down with a Chinese or an El Perro Negro or anything we were ordering. Nanakusa sometimes. Bread meets bread.
Probably enough in examples. Different Partick takeaways.
Block had a pop-up in Finiston. Block Plus. So we would fire up and then we would watch all these plays and stuff. And then we got Disney Plus. So I kind of got into the theatre a wee bit. All different types of plays. Shout out to...
It was an hour podcast. No need to list all the plays you've seen.
Streetcar Named Desire with Gillian Anderson was phenomenal.
Yep.
But then we watched this for the first time, and I was like, okay. Because I'd heard about this Lin Manuel-Miranda guy. Don't like his vibes. Don't like anybody with a goatee. Except Stephen Buchanan.
I think that's fair. Mm-hmm. I think the goatee is a red flag, isn't it?
Scrunched back, pulled back hair.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. That's a cool look.
But with a goatee and a ponytail.
Mm-hmm. More a man bun.
It's a man bun, yeah. It's different.
Or just a bun.
Yeah. Why not? So I'm cool. So yeah, I'd seen it and I liked some bits of it a lot and I disliked a lot of it. And I've realised this week what I don't necessarily like about it is because when you're telling a story through a musical, you have to paint in really broad strokes. You have to be very clear exactly what you're talking about all the time. One of my favourite things about hip-hop is in rap music, a lot of times I don't know what they're talking about and it's very dense. The imagery is a lot of jokes and references, stuff I have no... Like in... Trying to think of something I was listening to when I was just getting into rap, like Empire State of Mind with Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. There's loads of references to like weird New York stuff that I've got no idea about, but it sounds cool because the poetry of it and the way the words sound is lovely. But then you need to kind of sit down with Rap Genius and go, what does that mean? Like, oh, I get it now. Whereas with this, there is with this, it's 2 hours of music. You never don't know what he's talking about ever. There's some jokes that you're like, oh yeah, I guess King George did go mad, so that's funny when he's like, I'll go mad. You're like, wait, whoa. That's one of the shows we've seen was who plays
The Madness of King George III?
Yeah. With Sherlock's brother from Sherlock, like Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock's brother.
Oh, Mark Gatiss.
Gatiss?
If you like.
Whatever. Mark Gatiss as King George, and he goes crazy running about and he's shaking on the walls and stuff. Class. So I like that, but I didn't love it. Okay,
well, so that was your preconception going in.
You'd never listened to it.
I'd never listened to it.
How did that happen?
Well, it's one of the first of all, I only got Disney Plus recently.
I can't believe you have it.
The only reason I have it
what
is because Mary-Lane Robertson stayed at my house when she had COVID.
Friend of the
podcast. Or at least she stayed at my house, got COVID, gave my wife COVID. They were both locked in my house for 2 weeks. It was unbearable. Mary-Lane logged into her Disney Plus, and it has remained on our television ever since.
Right.
So that's how I've been watching Andor.
New segment in the show. Let's take a gander at Andor.
No.
I want to talk about Andor.
No. I've not finished it yet.
I watched all of it in 2 days because I thought you'd finished it. I wanted to talk to you about it.
I haven't finished it because
You've ruined the segment.
me and my wife watch it together. We've not had much time to watch television. We watched an episode maybe a week together. It's like a good
How
thing.
far right now? What's happening?
We're not going to talk about Andor,
Are they in the
okay?
prison yet?
Why would you say something like
Because
that?
it's obvious that they get to the prison.
What do you mean?
All right.
Yes, they are in the prison, but you shouldn't say stuff like
No,
that.
but I know that you know.
Okay, right. Anyway, so Marilyn Robertson's Disney is on my television.
Very much the
Only
Cassian Andor of the Scottish comedy circuit, I would say.
and so that's why it's on there. So I've watched Welcome to Wrexham. That's on Disney.
Yes.
I've
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I've watched that documentary Light and Sound about the Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
And now, as of the last week, I've watched Hamilton. The thing is, it's 2 hours, 30 minutes long, something like that. If I'm going to dedicate 2.5 hours to watching something, I'm not choosing Hamilton.
Why?
Because there's loads of other things I'd rather watch.
But this is
Sad black and white movies about dying Hungarian horses.
I
That's what
saw
I
the
wanna watch.
advert for that. I went to the GFT and there's a new Polish film about a donkey.
Okay.
And it looks really sad. And I was like, oh, Liam's going to fucking get his little winger out and
Just
fucking
four
jeff it.
40-minute shots of a donkey slowly dying.
So a
with
donkey
sad accordion
who
music.
meets a kind of handsome boy who seems like he might have to learn to love.
Yeah. Okay.
And he knocks over a bunch of apples, the donkey, and everybody's like, get out of here, get out, move, no. And he's like,
Yeah.
and then the boy looks after him.
You'd rather watch Hamilton than that?
No.
Yeah. Well, there you
But
go.
that's
there you go.
only because I want to talk to you about it.
So Lewis
Lewis Marilyn? Who's Lewis Marilyn?
No. I accidentally read his Lin Manuel-Miranda's dad's name. Lin Manuel-Miranda. I had seen him on episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
What's he doing in that?
He plays himself because they go to see Hamilton, and I think Larry falls asleep. Maybe
2.5 hours, and he's an old man.
Yeah. Well, what can you expect? And Lin Manuel-Miranda also popped up in a documentary that we watched for the pod, but I can't remember what. As a talking head, I can't remember who it was about though. Too long a pause.
No.
Too much dead air.
No, it's a podcast. It's all about the kind of negative space.
No, it isn't. It's the opposite of that.
You think so?
Yeah, long pause. People will look at their podcast app and go, is they still talking? Have I paused it by
No,
accident?
we were thinking about what documentary Lin Manuel-Miranda
Anyway,
was
so
about.
should we do a little bit of a background check on Lin Manuel-Miranda? Secret Posho, secret Posho. You do it fast and it's not like Nasho. You got money, you got dash, bro. Secret Posho, he's a secret Posho.
Sounds like Interpol. Is that what you're going for?
No, I was going for a Hamilton.
We have 200 Poshos for you to sleep tight.
That's better, yeah.
Grim right. That's my
That's Interpol.
Interpol impression. Pretty good Interpol impression. Speaking of Interpol, who...
Lin Manuel-Miranda's I can't speak. Lin Manuel-Miranda's father, Louis Miranda Jr.
Should we practice saying Lin Manuel-Miranda's name just a wee bit? So
Lin Manuel-Miranda. His father.
Lin Manuel-Miranda's Dildo Dango's Django Unchained. That's my warm-up. Joe Dando's Dildo Dangos.
His father was a political consultant for Hilary Clinton and Chuck Schumer.
Secret Posho.
Yeah, that's about as...
You brought up Chuck Schumer when we recorded the wet leg episode.
I used him as a reference point because he was on my mind because I also researched this.
Who is Chuck Schumer? Because when you said that, I went, yeah. I don't know
Charles
who he is.
Schumer is he's like the Democratic Speaker of the House.
Still?
I believe so. He's a senator. He's pretty high up. He's pretty high up lib. Same as our Hillary. So yeah, this is one of those ones. I mean, I think that's up there with your James Murphys and your Arcade Fires. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like in terms of like access to power, if your dad is running the political campaign for Hillary Clinton, he's obviously not very good at his job. But I mean, the Clintons are a fucking political dynasty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's probably pals with John Mulaney, this guy.
Yeah, probably.
His dad was the lawyer for Bill Clinton.
He went, but here's something that might surprise you, right? I think this is interesting. Lin Manuel-Miranda went to a Hunter College in New York, Hunter College School, which is not a private school. It is a public school with a very high admission process. It is one of the most elite academically schools in the country.
Yeah.
So the access, like you have to pass crazy exams. It is for gifted children.
Right. But your dad can buy your way in.
It's said to be harder to get into than Ivy League colleges.
Harvard?
Yeah, right. But because you're like 5 or whatever.
That's why I don't like stuff like that. It's for gifted children. It's like, how smart can a 5-year-old be?
Well, I don't know, man. I guess that's what they test. But here's the thing with the school.
I was tested as a child for learning difficulties.
Wait, is that right?
I think so.
Sorry, say it again and I'll sound more surprised.
I was tested as a child for learning difficulties. No, what? You get such a good attention span.
Really?
And you can drive a car and you could do maths and stuff.
Here's the thing, though. The school has been accused of basically being a private school by proxy because if you are a rich parent, then you pay for private tuition for your kids so that they can pass the tests to get into the school.
Yeah.
So it's supposedly this, like, it's just for gifted children, but then is it a coincidence that only 2% of your admissions are African Americans in New York? I don't think so.
In New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of, this school is elitist.
It is the best school in America, according to the grades.
According to the grades?
Yeah.
Who's that?
They're a band, the grades. They're a post-punk band from Brooklyn. According to, like, their SAT scores and the amount of the students that end up going to Ivy League colleges. So it's essentially, it's like it's private by proxy, Eton.
My school told us that we were the best grades of any school outside of the private schools. But then I checked recently and we were like 155th or something.
What? You sure you're not good about maths? 156th.
Yeah.
With 156th.
It used to be 150 Jeff, but European people couldn't pronounce it, so they changed it to Sif.
He went to school with someone who I mentioned recently on the podcast, Immortal Technique.
He went to school with Immortal Technique?
Yeah, and Immortal Technique bullied him at school, apparently. But apparently now they're friends.
Immortal Technique went to private school?
Yeah. Mm. Well, there you go. The more you know. He then went to Wesleyan University, which is a private university. I'm not really sure how that works in America, but a private university. Is it the same as... Because
They're all expensive, aren't they?
Yeah.
Corbin, you got something to say about this?
Yeah, they're just really expensive where you have to have the high grades for them, but then you also have to pay an ass load of money for them, pretty much.
An ass load of money.
Yeah, it's way more than you'd ever expect.
Okay, wow. Right. So he went to a private liberal university, arts college, with other alumni of his course are Michael Bay, Josh Whedon, and Amanda Palmer.
Oh, man, Amanda Palmer sucks.
We could do a great ep on her.
Yeah.
Because she's like...
Team Neo.
In terms of the podcast, she's a content machine. She's done loads of stupid shit.
Loads of stuff. That thing where she was getting people to... She was using Patreon?
Yeah. She was an early adopter.
Your Patreon was that you could join her band and then not get paid to play music in a band.
Yeah.
That's like if one of our Patreon bonuses was that
you're a co-host.
Yeah.
You're a co-host of the podcast.
When I did that.
That's how Coben's here. He's top tier. He pays 100 per episode.
Like an ass load, you mean?
An ass load. There we go. Okay, no more being funny, please, Coben. That's quite enough from you. So Coben. He had an interest in musical theatre when he was at school and started writing and producing his own little musicals. Here's the interesting talking point. Before his first musical hit success, In the Heights, he was in a small comedy touring freestyle rap group called Freestyle Love Supreme. They played the Edinburgh Festival in 2005.
What venue? Big Four?
I'm not sure. I actually tried to find out some information. I could see a couple reviews, but nothing.
What did Steve Bennett think?
You know what? I clicked when I Googled it. There was a chortle link, and I thought, fucking amazing.
But it's one of the things where it's just the event.
It's just the event, not the list, no reviews. We're a bit going. So they are, but there is a clip of them on Jimmy Fallon. And yeah, they are like improvised rap improv group. We know the comedian MC Hammersmith. They're kind of doing that, but there's like 4 or 5 of them. And so, they take the example I saw, they ask for 3 people in the audience for things they hate, and then they improvise raps about why they hate them. And, it's that improv school, improvised rap style. You know what I mean?
If you can't say something nice, don't say it at all.
If I speak,
I am in trouble.
so I will not speak.
I will not speak. The decisions they went against us.
Yeah, so, it's a bit...
Tell you what, there's some great improvised rappers out there. Abandon Man.
MC Hammersmith, I think, is fantastic.
MC Hammersmith.
Yeah, okay.
Abandon Man.
These guys are cringe.
Yeah.
Cringe. So, yeah, then he wrote In the Heights.
Yeah, it's like a Puerto Rican thing.
Puerto Rican.
I think it's more acceptable to not say it like that.
Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. Have you been to Puerto Rico?
Yes, I've been to Puerto Rico.
Have you?
I have, no.
Great
I go there
wrestling scene.
every night in my dreams.
When did we talk about Puerto Rico?
I don't know, but I remember that Donald Trump...
Bad Baby?
Bad Baby?
Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny.
Bad Baby?
Bad Baby!
I hate that kid.
Yeah, it's the sequel to Boss Baby. When he gets sacked, he becomes a bad baby.
Becomes a crypto guy.
Becomes a crypto. Yeah, so that did well. Tony Awards coming out of his sphincter.
For In the Heights. Did I get criticised for being racially fucked? I think was the phrase they used.
I think it was... Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it.
I think when In the Heights, there was some kind of thing where everybody had light skin or something, and people were like, right, well, that's not... Where's the dark skinned people, bro?
Oh, okay. Well, he obviously...
Just making that up, don't know if that's true.
Okay, good. Good, yeah. I mean, look, it's the Patreon, so who cares about accuracy here? If you've signed up to the podcast at this point, you know that we're not here for facts. We're more here for fucking and sucking.
Controversy. Oh, there is controversy. Yep. Though a large... And this is what happens when you type in the Heights controversy. And Google has one of those ones where it just takes a punt. This is probably what you think. Mm-hmm. Though a large portion of the neighbourhood's real-life population is black Latinx, in the movie, all but one of the main cast members are light-skinned. And many viewers immediately noticed what seemed to be the erasure of the black Latinx community.
Oh.
I think Latinx is actually not the preferred nomenclature from a lot of Latino people. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry that I'm so aware.
No, similar problem to the first season of Lena Dunham's Girls, set in New York, but everyone was like, what New York are you in?
Well, the rich one.
Yeah, where there's no African Americans.
No, but the thing is, I honestly believe that show is a criticism of people like Lena Dunham by Lena Dunham.
Are you a girls' defender?
I'm a girls' defender. I hate.
Yeah, I know that.
But I do think that Lena Dunham's a lot
I'd rather watch
people.
Jeff Dunham than Lena Dunham, I'll tell you that right now.
Jeff Dunham. Oh, I thought about Jeff Dahmer. I'd rather watch someone cut people's faces off and eat it fried in some sesame oil.
Still probably.
I think, I cried in the first season of Girls. Maybe the second series of Girls.
Yeah,
It's when the boys were saying stuff, because that's what's actually cool.
It's just like, it's Caitlin Moran fucking energy of that whole period of time.
Caitlin Moran doesn't have the self-awareness of Lena Dunham.
Oh, God.
She's not an artist.
They all make me cringe so much. He read a biography of Alexander Hamilton, and wrote a rap poem.
His name was Alexander Hamilton.
Performed it at the White House. A White House poetry.
That's what I do. All my work in progresses.
Guys, got a whip tonight. It's at the White House in the Oval Office.
How do you know the politicians that work in there, Lynn? Oh my dad! Just a good opportunity came up. Just a good opportunity.
It was on the Scottish Comedy Forum. The
welcome at the White House anytime. Gee. That's just
B.O.
Yeah.
Yes, and he performed rap to Obama, and improvised some raps based on Obama's cues.
Melania.
Drone strikes. I can't do it, Brother Palmer. What was that? Rolls Royce?
I can only do. I mean, that was Yogi Bear. Melania.
I can only say smarter than the average Democrat.
Wow. But I can kind of do because I don't know. I know you got Apple. I know you got Disney Plus, but I don't know if you have Netflix.
I don't know it.
No. He has a nature documentary. Barack Obama.
Right.
The 12 greatest natural parks in the world. Okay. This is the Boohoo, the smallest deer.
You watched Obama's nature documentary?
Yeah, I love nature documentary.
Okay. I thought you were a radical leftist, but turns out you scoop up that propaganda.
I like Pooh.
And that was the genesis of the Hamilton show. Was these sort of raps they then developed and turned into this full-scale musical, hip-hop musical about Alexander Hamilton, the forgotten founding father.
Yeah. He's not on money, is he?
No, I think he's on a $10 note.
Yeah.
$10 bill, as they say. So, I mean, I guess there's a lot to discuss with Hamilton, the show.
Can we do a Secret Posho on Hamilton? Alexander Hamilton?
Sure.
Secret Posho, secret Posho. You do it fast and it feels like no show. Got no money, here you go, Dosh Pro, Secret Posho. He was the son of a whore and a Scotsman. No Posho.
Yeah, he grew up poor. We don't need to do the whole of Hamilton's life, but what did you think of the sort of hip hop aspects of this musical? You know,
well, I do think it's very watered down, but you can tell he likes rap music. You can tell there's a love for it, and all the different characters, their raps. I like that all the characters rap differently. Like Lafayette has a kind of French hip hop thing.
It's really, I think probably not understated, but I think we shouldn't overlook how well that is actually done and how difficult that is to write prose in character for 2.5 hours with different, that sticks to the rules of each character, and each character has their own refrains and catchphrases, and there's a few bits that kind of get repeated, you know what I mean? Like
reprises.
Yeah, but there's reprises, and then there's okay, you're using just some of the same words here to rhyme off.
Take my shot, and I'm gonna take my shot.
Yeah, there's some, and there are some what we would call I guess basic hip hop rhymes. Do you know what I mean? But I think it is impressive to rap it, have two characters rapping character to each other without. With each having their own sort of distinct thing.
What was your least favourite bits in Hamilton?
I have a page of this.
Hit me.
So the first dislike I've written is just the word beatboxing.
You don't like beatboxing?
Don't beatbox on stage.
I beatboxed earlier in this. For you?
It's so cringy when they beatbox.
You think so?
It makes
when they're hitting the table and stuff?
I can feel the hitting the table I have a bit more time for.
Yeah.
But there are points when they go poof, 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 and it's like,
so you don't like beatboxing?
I just feel my spinal cord crawling out of my anus in embarrassment. You know what I mean? You are musical theatre people and you're beatboxing poorly.
They should be better at it.
Beatboxing is, to me, spiritually, and I hope you understand what I mean by this, the same as vaping, okay? I see them as basically the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
I would love to see, do you know how people do those vape tricks? Yeah. I would love to see somebody beatbox while vaping, and because their lips are moving rhythmically, the smoke has a rhythm to it. I'd like to see that.
I think that'd be the worst thing that's ever been recorded. The combination of two bad things.
You saw the guy who was doing vape tricks, and he's like, he's bringing it in and bringing it back.
Yeah,
it's so cool. So cool.
Yeah, so that there is a lot of
clown pussy brand vape.
genuinely problematic revisionist history that goes on in Hamilton.
Are you a big history guy?
I have my moments. Okay, I'm not an expert on this matter.
Yeah,
but you only need to do the briefest amount of research to find out some of the issues with it. Some of them I think are quite fucked up. So I think we should explain for anyone who hasn't seen Hamilton that this is the story of a lot of old white men. However, it is cast almost entirely
racially blind.
No, so that is something that they claim it to be, but it's not racially blind. It's racially conscious, but it's not racially blind.
No.
Because you couldn't have white people doing all of these characters, because imagine how that would look, a bunch of white guys rapping.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, sure, they've chosen people of colour, African Americans to do that.
Racially conscious.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Which, fine, and I get the argument for doing that. It's like a modern telling of it. It's a way of communicating people in a modern era about this classic story. It is a bit fucking theatre group turning up to your secondary school to tell you, okay, kids, and now we're going to tell you the story of Alexander Hamilton. My name's Alex, and I'm here to say I was here at the start of the USA.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's there's that whole element of it is a bit cringy.
Yeah.
It does feel like a school time.
America's cock.
Well, we'll get to that. There is a bit of school time special about it. There is also, however, revisionist history about a lot of it. You know, these the founding fathers, by and large, were slave owners. There is passing reference to some of them having slaves.
Yeah.
The southern founding fathers,
the Virginia boys.
they had slaves.
Yeah.
George Washington,
You loved them.
he had like 120 slaves.
It's too many.
And he's like the main father figure in this. And I think
He's a very noble guy with a deep voice.
they have it. The show has its cake and eats it too when it comes to this, because it goes, look, we talk about slavery a little bit, but then to have a black guy playing George Washington, and then to not mention at all that he had 120 slaves, I think is fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like really offensive.
Yeah.
So that's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
They paint Hamilton himself as being anti-slavery. Now, later on in his life, same as George Washington in his will said that he wanted to free his slaves.
Didn't like the bit at the end where his wife, spoiler alert, Hamilton is shot. That's not really a spoiler because Edinburgh says he does it in like the first 10 seconds.
It's also history.
But his wife comes out, Mary, at the end, and she's like, and I started the only orphanage in New York that was not private, and then also I spoke out publicly against slavery. And it's like, it's not enough.
Well, also the Schuyler sisters, I mean, they were a massive slave-owning family. So Hamilton, later in his life...
Pardon me. Say again?
The Schuyler sisters were a massive slave-owning family. Hamilton, later in his life, did speak about abolishing slavery. But, you know, when they got married, he was marrying into a family of slave owners. And there is proof that he didn't own slaves. He rented slaves, which is a thing you could do, which is, I mean, look, you know, fucking...
Do you think that's better or worse?
I don't want to really rank them in terms of badness, but there's no evidence that as a young man he was like against slavery or anything, and they paint him in that way because, like you say, it would be there's two ways of looking at it. Either you Lin Manuel-Miranda and you know all this, and you go, it's a bit too difficult to include these complex things, complexities of these characters into this musical. You know, it's 2.5 hours long. I can't get everything in there. I'm going to have to leave some stuff out. I don't have time to go, he was a slave owner, but, you know, it was still this and this. Or it is, it just muddies the waters too much of the aim of the show, which is a neoliberal propaganda exercise in the birth of America.
Wow. It's quite the... So did you like any of it as well? I really like the King's song.
Do you know who hated it?
Who?
Toni Morrison, Southern Gothic author, famous African-American writer. She hated it so much that she funded... she didn't say anything publicly, but she backed financially a play called something like The Crimes of Lin Manuel-Miranda, which was a...
that fucking goatee. It's number one.
Which was a... what's the Christmas Carol? Dickensian, you're visited by three ghosts.
All right,
So he was visited by each of the founding fathers in this show who told him why his Hamilton's so fucked up.
Yeah.
So
Chinky kid. Seems like a little shrimp who would care.
here's another thing I didn't like. Let's say I've got a lot.
Him being in the lead role, even though everyone around him's like a stunning guy who can sing really well, and he's a guy who can't really sing that well, and he looks like shit, and everybody wants to fuck him in the play, like his wife and his wife's sister, and then his other woman, and everybody's like, he's just so smart and handsome and cool, and you're like, fucking look at him, man.
Yeah, Earthworm Jim motherfucker. In the first bit, when they're like, he's 19 years old, I spat out my drink. I went, come on, man.
Yeah.
No 19-year-old has got a goatee.
No.
What the fuck's going on?
I didn't like the, and maybe this is because I'd be self-conscious because I can't even talk about this, but that guy who called me bald, I met him again in real life.
I would like to take this opportunity to apologise to you publicly.
What?
Because you posted a picture where you said your forehead looked great, and I made a little snide comment about how big your forehead was.
Uh-huh.
And I just think that was out of order looking back on it.
Well, it's true, it's big.
Well, I know it's something you're sensitive about.
Well, it's not getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been big. It's my line.
Okay.
That's the party line.
Right, okay. That's the party line. So I didn't...
It's like people who deny
I was worried
global
because
warming.
the thing
They're
is,
like, it's always been hot.
Sometimes you tell me that, like, reasons why you hate people, and it is based on something, like an off joke someone made that I don't think is that bad. And I was worried that...
I hated somebody stupidly recently.
Yeah, well, I can't say that on pod.
Okay.
Even in the Patreon, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
We don't get that juice.
I'm so full of rage. And I let out in the wrong people sometimes. Oh, yeah, that guy. Anyway, what were we talking about there? My baldness. Oh, yeah, they have the little... There's a new thing in the musical theatre. I don't know how new it is, but they used to have the Britney Spears side microphone, and now everybody has this horrible wee Widow's black peak.
Right.
That can... I'm like, how does that even pick up the sound?
Yeah.
Because this microphone picks up my sound because I'm speaking into it.
Yeah, yeah.
But this... I don't understand how it works. Magic.
You didn't like that?
No.
The way that all the women sort of fawn over him,
And he wrote this and cast it.
and let me tell you, it doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
You think so?
Well, no, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
There's no part in which the women are discussing anything other than the male hero. Mm-hmm. You know, and the way that they portray, so like Hamilton had an affair, and then was blackmailed, right? And the way that they portray that is that this sort of woman with big red lipstick and a red corset just like comes out of nowhere and takes advantage of poor Alexander Hamilton. Oh my, how could he resist? This fuck machine appears out of nowhere and fucks his brain out. God, poor Alexander. And then they blackmail him, and it's like, listen,
Oh, yeah.
he fucked a sexy lady, okay?
Yeah.
He has to take some fucking responsibility for that.
He's saying, I go uptown. It's quiet uptown. Shut the fuck up,
I didn't
man.
want to fuck her. I didn't want to, but she wanted to fuck me. There was nothing I could do.
Right, what's next? We need to rattle through these. It's how I talk about the king.
Well, I've written Lin as a leading man, so that's good. The last one, I've written, okay. The last one I've written is that, yes, they may have cast a lot of black actors
Yeah.
to play white characters, but I think it's very interesting that there are no actually black historical figures in this show.
Who do you think should be in there?
Listen, I'm not a historian. Okay?
Harriet Tubman. Different time, probably.
Different time,
Yeah.
okay? But they existed, for sure. And maybe this would have been a good opportunity to teach.
Put a white guy in as a black guy. That's what you want.
I think that would be problematic also. You know, I don't think that's the answer.
Sounds like that's what you think then. So
That's what I think it should be.
right. We've spoke too much about a lot of stuff, so we've not got a lot of time left. But I want to get into this week's Unhinged YouTube Comment of the Week. Because one of the things from the first time I watched this, my favourite character, and then second time I watched it, and now having listened to the album a couple of times, I think a highlight is Jonathan Groff's performance as King George III. He has 3 songs that are basically the same song over and over again, where he's basically King George, the Mad King, who lost America, and he's got this great solo song. How does it go again? I can't remember. And he's so mental that he like spits. You get like slabber hanging off his face because he's a crazy cunt. I love him. Anyway, there was a little bit of debate on YouTube as to the spit. A user called Rocket Andrade.
Rocket and Raddy.
Rocket Andrade is a Latin name. Rocket Andrade said, fun fact, he was spitting drooling on purpose because it was said that King George III often did that. Someone responded.
Oh, we've got a YouTube argument on our hands.
Hawk Hill Falconer 1 year ago said, nope. He spits because he drinks a cup of water before he sings to keep his mouth wet. Many Broadway singers spit. Front row is the splash zone. Oscar Svanjangen entered the fray.
Oscar Svanjangen?
Yes. Oscar Svanjangen said Hawk Hill Falconer, dude, it was on purpose. You realise that, right? They wouldn't just have him accidentally spit in his face every time. Hawk Hill Falconer redoubted him.
Redoubted?
Yes.
Redoubted?
He redoubted him.
What does that mean?
You know what it means. He said, Oscar Svanjangen, dude, read what I said. It's what he said himself. I used to work on Broadway. Lots of performers spit when they sing. You can't just see it normally because there aren't close-up cameras. Sheesh! He said the same thing in an interview. Final argument from the point of view of someone called Maya Satara.
Someone else is...
They have redoubted.
They've redoubted again.
Go to a Shakespearean play sometime. Half the cast is spitting. They can't stop and wipe off their faces halfway through a scene because it breaks the fourth wall. I'm not King Lear. I'm an actor. And I'm spitting. Excuse me. Some people produce more saliva when singing or shouting. Happens all the time. Not a trait of a long dead king. I just love that last line.
I think that if you are acting and you are shouting and you are spitting,
I realised that was spitting while I was doing
then
this.
the character who you are playing
It's spitting.
is also spitting.
Yeah.
So it's fine to wipe your mouth.
Bertolt Brecht.
Why are you saying Bertolt Brecht?
Let's do tattoo woohoo tattoo boohoo.
No. Let's do it. Hamilton style.
Oh. America, 1979.
We're two guys reviewing tattoos. We're gonna Google
We're
image
not
search
gonna-
and then we'll choose if it's tattoo woohoo or tattoo boohoo.
Right, let's get up.
We're judging the ink, and that's what we'll do.
Okay, this was on Lin Manuel-Miranda's Twitter feed. He posted his new tattoo in 2017. In other news, I got a permanent parking spot for V over the weekend, he said. Then there's a picture of his hands. Very hairy knuckles. Don't know how you feel about that. This is hair especially, very thick. I hate it when you just have one thick hair.
Oh, there's some on my beard. There's like a section of like wiry hair. Yeah, it's really annoying.
It's like, is that one of my head hairs?
I've got pube hairs on my beard, basically.
Yeah. V
He's got a V on his ring finger where a wedding ring would be.
for his partner, Veronica.
So why wouldn't you just wear a engagement ring?
You can take a ring off.
I think. Do you know what's very telling? That even his wife's initial on his finger,
It's pointing
the letter V, is ultimately pointing at himself.
Yeah. It's a boohoo for me.
Yeah, that is. And we've spoken about small tattoos before, but going to a tattoo shop and getting 2 lines. Come on, to fuck.
When
man.
your dad works for Bill Clinton's wife.
Her name is Hilary. Thank you.
Yeah. Next slide, please. This is tattooed.
Boy.
And I knew you would have a reaction to this, but
Oh boy.
this is tattooed on Lin Manuel-Miranda's back.
Maramba.
Yep. That's racist. This is tattooed on Lin Manuel-Miranda's back. It is, for the benefit of the audio listener, it is a microphone. It looks like a SM58. And there's lines coming out of the microphone, which isn't usually how they work.
Yeah, that's the opposite of what happens.
Yeah, maybe they're going into it, but I don't think so.
Yeah, the microphone that's feedback, I think.
It's feedback from me saying it's shite. But what do you think about microphone tattoos in general?
I know a bunch of people who have them.
List them.
Gareth Waugh has a old-fashioned microphone tattooed on him.
Even though we don't use them in stand-up.
Yes. Okay. So Gareth Waugh has that. He's coming on soon. So we'll actually
we'll do a live tattoo Boohoo on him.
The comedian Ross Leslie has a microphone, and inscribed in it is the date of his first gig.
Sure.
And I think there's probably a few more comedians who have that.
What do you think about them and the tattoos? Your two friends there and then other colleagues.
It's not a tattoo I would get myself.
Why?
Because I don't think it's good.
What are you giving that Woohoo about?
It's a Boohoo. That's fucking shit, man. Listen, I'll say this for both Ross and Gareth's tattoos. The artwork is beautiful. It's
craft.
They are really well drawn.
The craft.
This is drawn shit.
Yeah.
This looks bad. Theirs doesn't look bad. Yeah. I wouldn't have it myself.
Would it change your opinion if I told you he got this tattoo in Melbourne, Australia?
No.
Okay, I don't know why I thought it would.
Is it more about someone's upside down and that's why it's harder to do?
It looks like the moment sperm touches the egg.
It does. Oh, yes, it is. The microphone does look a bit like sperm.
Does that change your opinion?
Now, if you said to me...
I know you like cum.
That Lin Manuel-Miranda said, I got this tattoo...
I know you like cum.
If he said, I like this... I got this tattoo because it reminded me of my own cum, then I'd be like, whoa, dark horse, Lin?
Yeah. And obviously the tail sperm's pointing at him.
But I don't think... No, it's not for me. That's a big Boohoo.
Two Boohoos.
How long have we got left? What are we on?
5 minutes, if that.
Oh, really? God almighty, I've got so much more to say about Hamilton.
I know.
I
loved that song. I loved King. And I also loved Jonathan Groff when he was in Mindhunter.
What did you... Oh, that's where I recognise him from!
Yeah.
Oh!
He's also the woodsman from Frozen. Big guy.
Right.
Big deal. But how great was he in Mindhunter? See the bit when he's investigating the crime, he's in the shoe shop, and he's investigating the guy who's like into feet, chopping people's feet off and all this shit. And he looks at the shoe, and his girlfriend sees the shoe. Then she dresses up in sexy clothes with the high heels, and he gets like freaked out. Fucking shit hot.
Good show. They cancelled, didn't they?
Well, they weren't willing to pay, and I know we've only got 3 minutes left, so I don't want to get too into David Fincher's financial problems.
Finchner.
What did you call him?
Fincher.
Finchner.
No, it's Fincher, not Finchner.
Doberman Finchner, as I call him. Yeah, so I thought he was fantastic. And obviously it's fucked up that I'm saying that I only thought the white guy was good. That's not true. I thought the guy who played Lafayette was good. I thought
he is the most charismatic person in that whole stage.
Hercules Mulligan as well was class.
What the rap battles was a point. What do you think of the rap battles? Where they get microphones out. And
when they're doing the debates.
Yeah, it's a way of
Thomas
doing the
Jefferson.
debates. And yeah.
I like the guy who played Aaron Burr as well. He's a good shit cunt. You know, he's a good heel.
Burr was well played. Yep, good.
I was a stupid motherfucker who shot it. He doesn't say motherfucker.
I think it's a good... Look, I'll say this for Hamilton. I do think it is impressive to do someone's life story like this. With using hip hop.
Another thing I don't like about it is the fact that his life story fucking sucks. His son gets shot to death because he goes, if you're in a shooting match, shoot this guy. Then
I think maybe he said shoot this guy, and he got confused.
Put your
this is why you shouldn't rap so much. You should talk.
Just why can't you speak slowly? We can all understand.
That's not what I was saying.
But like, and then he gets shot to death as well, and it's supposed to be sad. And I'm just like, you just don't know anything about shooting people, man.
Yeah.
You're rubbish at shooting people.
Yeah, the worst. Yeah.
Shut up. Shit. Anyway, I liked it, but it was bad.
Yeah, I am actually glad I watched it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to.
Taking the visual elements out, taking the choreography out, just rendering it as a series of songs on the album. Did you enjoy an album? I would say I enjoyed the musical. I didn't enjoy the album.
I would say I agree. I think that the album only really serves to tell the story as a whole. Individual songs, I'm not that, I can't think of a time or whatever. There's one or two songs, like the one I'm going to put on the playlist, for example, where I think there would be some value to listen to it on its own. But the rest of it, it only serves... It's, what's the phrase about some of its parts?
It's less than the sum of its whole.
Sure. Its whole is not worth much.
Its whole is ragged.
Yep.
Fucked to pieces, you might say.
Yeah.
This is the whole, by the end of it, a dark star.
So we're going to add a song each.
Yeah.
But before we do, I'm going to cough. So we're going to add a song each.
Every week we add 2 songs to the Enjoy an Album playlist.
Which you can access, enjoy an album.play.lit.st or whatever.
You can go and enjoy a playlist.st, updated by Megaslippers.
Yes.
And Jay Howlett does the Apple Music version. You can check out every song every week. We add on 2 songs from the album and then 2 songs inspired by the conversation. What are you going to put on from this?
There's a song called Dear Theodosia, which doesn't have any rapping in it. Mm-hmm. It is Alexander Hamilton and Burr are both individually singing to their children, Burr is singing to his girlfriend that he likes. I think it's one of the more beautiful sounding songs. It's a good duet. Mm-hmm. It's simple. It's only like 2 minutes long.
Smile more, talk less. You are my son, I confess. Mm-hmm. That's one of the lines they don't say in it. I'm going to put on the King's song "You'll Be Back" by Jonathan Groff, aka Holden from Mindhunter. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great show, and I liked it, so I'm going to stick that on.
My bonus track. This is going to shock you.
Bonus.
I'm going to put a song on that Lin Manuel-Miranda wrote for Disney musical Moana. Find me.
Have you seen Coco?
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning.
But this is Moana.
Remember me.
It's actually a little bit sexist. Just think of another female-led film.
It's actually doesn't matter what it is.
So we're putting How Far I'll Go from the Moana soundtrack, written by Lin Manuel-Miranda. It's a catchy musical number by Disney, which we spoke about, and Lin Manuel, which I think is a lot of fun.
Speaking of the American Civil War,
speaking of 9/11,
speaking of the American tragedies, I am going to listen to Hamilton. No, I'm going to. There's a song, one of my favorite records by Titus Andronicus.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
16,
it's like the 4th one of theirs you put on, I'm sure.
No. Oh, this is a 16-minute retelling of the Battle of Hampton Roads, which was part of the American Civil War.
Okay, that's fine. That's actually cool.
16-minute long rock opera.
I'm actually that sounds great. I'm looking forward to listening to that.
It's class.
16-minute rock opera about the American Civil War. Yes, please.
The whole album's about the American Civil War, but this is really, really good. I'm going to stick that on. I could have put on something from the Hoodwinked soundtrack that I sang solo as the Sheriff of Nottingham, but I couldn't find my wee hat. So,
thank you, patrons, for tuning in, listening. We hope you enjoyed this bonus episode, and we'll see you in a few weeks for the next super secret Enjoy an Album Ultra upload. Until then, enjoy your lives.
Shout out to the Ultras. Peace and love in the new millennium.